Being an entrepreneur is hard work. There's no doubt about that. And it takes a special person to commit to the challenge. Many business owners don't have the skills or training in marketing and or advertising for their specific goods or services. And this is what allows us to find our target audience and identify a pain point or value that we can add to their lives. A podcast can be an amazing way to both check the temperature on our existing client base and reach a whole new audience through targeted reach. You're an expert in your field. I have no doubt about that. Now, using podcasting to identify your target audience and how to captivate them, and using it as a driver of business, not only entertainment, is my jam. Let's check the forecast. Hey there, I'm Podcast Nate, and I took my first podcast, The Sobriety Diaries, from launch to the top 3% globally in the first 90 days. And I'm happy to share with you the exact framework that I use to accomplish that and coach you through the same.
Just think of me as your coach.
Welcome to my channel, the Podcast Nate channel. I host a podcast called the Podcast Forecast, which is your guide to the current podcast climate and hottest trend. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking for an additional stream of revenue or a creator wanting to expand your platform, I'm here to help you launch a podcast to raise the temp on your success.
In order to be successful, one must project an image of success at all times.
I'll be running down what we discuss on the podcast here on this channel, and hopefully creating a community of podcasters and entrepreneurs to help support us through this journey. Podcasting is not easy. It takes a lot of work, and if you are surrounded by others, it makes it so much easier. I'll be doing live streams and webinars, so if you're into that sort of thing, subscribe now so you never miss an upload. Let's dive into today's topic. Now, podcasting is a fairly new medium, relatively speaking, and even newer as a marketing tactic and driver of business for entrepreneurs. So the tactics that I'm discussing today are actually things that I've tried and either succeeded at or failed at. They're use case scenarios. So either myself or my colleagues in the industry have had success with them. These aren't fairy tales.
Prison is no fairy tale world.
So the first step in using podcasting as a marketing tactic or driver of business is identifying the topic and theme of your show and your target audience. Your purpose should align with your business goals and therefore reflect the value that you want to add to your listeners. By understanding your target audience, you can tailor your content to meet their interests, and this will position yourself as a leader in the industry and an authority figure within your niche. So this is the perfect opportunity when you're creating your content calendar and planning out your episodes to tailor that content around your audience and things that will either add value to their life or solve a problem or pain point that they have. Now, in the beginning, it's a little more tricky than once you start developing an audience, because when you do, you can ask your audience for feedback and ask what questions they may have or pain points that they need solved.
Any questions, Vince?
But in the beginning, it's a little trickier. So it helps to put yourself in the position of a listener or your ideal client. And I always recommend putting a persona and putting a face to your ideal listener or ideal client. So give them personality traits, give them a face, maybe give them a name. And this will make it so much easier to understand their needs and develop that content. When your listeners find your episodes and your content informative and educational on top of being entertaining, they are way more likely to subscribe to your channel and even share it with friends or like-minded people. We want to offer practical ideas and concepts, personal stories and experience. You can invite industry leaders or professionals within your industry onto the podcast to also share their personal experiences. And of course, again, We need to be entertaining and develop our storytelling technique. Now, I want to stop here and say audio is king with podcast. It is an audio platform after all. So I'm going to dive into quality audio and equipment recommendations in a future video. But today we're focusing on business and marketing. So keeping in mind that people are quick to switch the channel or go on to the next podcast in their library if your audio sucks.
Sounds horrible.
We also want to make sure that our podcast branding and our business branding align. They don't need to be identical. Let's think of them as eyebrows, okay? Cousins, not sisters. So maybe we're using the same font and the same color, but feel free to create a specific logo for your podcast. That is going to help create brand recognition or brand consistency, if you will. And my recommendation is really to keep it simple. So your podcast cover art is a small icon, a little square, if you will, in the podcast directories and on podcast networks. So we want it to be fairly simple, not too chaotic, not too busy, 1 to 2 fonts, maybe 2 to 3 colors. Check out your favorite podcasters' logos and cover art just for inspiration. Now, we're not copying anything, of course, but keep in mind that as people are scrolling, that is their first impression of your show. So you want it to be inviting, engaging, eye-catching, but not chaotic. Thanks so much for watching today, my friend. Check us out at podcastneat.com for more information on the show and the upcoming coaching and coursework I'm putting together. Again, check us out at the Podcast Forecast, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. New episodes every Tuesday, along with the Weekend Forecast every Friday, where I answer your questions about podcasting. Subscribe to this channel now so you never miss an upload. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.